Hey, everybody, welcome back. And I'm making another video again with a very special person. But before I start, please, I ask you to like and subscribe and share the videos. My goal, I want to keep spreading awareness about our brains, hopefully soon to be completed, brain neural rehab center in Camrose. So press like, and if at the end of it you say, oh, that was terrible, you know what? You can always unlike. So that's my little plug. Now, the last week in January, from the 20th to the 24th, I was in Calgary. And let me just tell you, whether you've had an accident or, like me, a stroke, which soon will be 5 years, please don't give up. Don't listen to anyone that says, well, it's already been 6 months or it's already been a year. That has no bearing on your ability to progress. Like I said, 4.5 years, and I went down for some more rehab. And I have a great person here with me from the Synaptic Spinal Cord Injury and Neurorehabilitation or Rehab Center in Calgary. And with me is Uyen Nguyen. She is a lady for whom I have a great deal of respect, and she was the driving force behind the establishment of this center. So, welcome, Uyen.
Thank you, Jocelyn.
It is so good to see you. And now, to give people a little bit of background, what is your background?
My background, I started out, and this is coming up into 23 years that I've been a physical therapist. And I'll be fully transparent. I certainly did not start out in this neuro world. I started on a very different path, and that was in sports physio. But 13 years ago, everything was kind of leading to being here at Synaptic.
Wow. So, why did you establish Synaptic? I'm sure even 13 years ago, there were other places that offered rehab.
So actually, Jocelyn, and we talk about this where invention is born out of need. So need is the mother of innovation, right? It happened because it needed to happen. So 13 years ago, the story really began when I came across a person who was in her 30s and truly living life to its very fullest. And one morning she got into her car to take her kiddos to school, just like most of us do every morning. And we don't think twice. We don't think twice about how life-changing any one moment can be. But she was in an accident where she acquired a spinal cord injury. And so from that moment on, her whole life was changed. And there was no going back. It was just, how do we move forward? And bringing that to my attention in that there, once you leave the hospital, there was such limited opportunities for ongoing care in the community. It really actually baffled me because being in the sports world, there's so many options for athletes and there's so many different medical professionals capable, knowledgeable, and willing to work with an athletic population. And yet our neuro population just seems to be underserved, I think would be one word, and sometimes forgotten that life is more than just the diagnosis or that one incident or that one injury. And we have to find a way to carry forward. So when we realized the need in our community, Synaptic was created. Synaptic was created out of the philanthropic hearts of Calgarians who really understood that good work could be done if it was supported by the people in the community and the community itself. And so 13 years ago now, Synaptic was born.
Wow. So tell me, who uses this facility?
When we first started, Jocelyn, I think the focus was spinal cord injuries because that was the overwhelming need. We just realized that this was a group that really didn't have anywhere to go. But through the years, let me tell you, it has very much changed. We cover the spectrum of anything neurological. So anything that involves your brain in the diagnosis and a movement dysfunction or break or a challenge, right? So when your brain and your body aren't fully connecting and not fully talking to each other, then this is what we're dealing with. So from MS to Parkinson's, stroke, spinal cord injuries, CP, tumors, concussions. Last year alone, we actually saw over 30 different cases of neurological conditions. And we see like wee littles, 2-year-olds, all the way through like 92-year-old.
Well, yes, I know when I was there. Do I know their exact ages? But there was a little sweetheart that looked about 4, another young one about, I don't know, 8 or 10. And then, of course, I'm in my 70s, and I suspect there were a couple older than I was. So there doesn't seem to be any, you have to be this age. There are no limitations.
That's the thing about neurological conditions. You're not immune to it. It doesn't matter who you are, what your age is. It really doesn't matter. No one is immune.
That is, now your space is tremendous. How big is it approximately?
So our space now, Jocelyn, we just moved in March of 2024, and this is our technically our third location, third full location, and we're just under 12,000 square feet.
Wow, I knew it was big. I didn't realize it was that big. So, how many therapists do you have on staff?
So actually, our company has a big umbrella with two slightly different companies underneath of it. One is Synaptic and the other is Elevate. And when we combine both teams, it's about 27 people all around. Synaptic has a neuro focus, which is where you would have been, right? Working through all the neurological bits of it. And on the other side, all our other disciplines from occupational therapists, physical therapists, massage therapists, acupuncturists, mental health, speech language pathology, and nutrition all sit on the Elevate side. And collectively, collaboratively, we just work to ensure that people are getting a holistic look and a holistic therapy approach that considers the whole person and not just the diagnosis.
Well, and that's awesome because a person is not the condition. I mean, it might kind of tell you a bit about them, but not everything. Uh, very briefly, when we talk about the brain, we talk about neuroplasticity. What does that mean?
That's a really good question. And I'm gonna this will tell you how old I am. When I came out of school, we didn't even know the word. We barely understood the concept because we didn't know. We or fully realized to the extent at which the brain can learn, reorganize, and change, right? We used to think that if a certain part of the brain or a certain function of the brain was disrupted, then it was lost And that was it. That was kind of the hand that you're dealt, and that was it. And now we know that with the proper stimulus, the proper input, that the brain can start to reorganize and relearn in many incredibly fascinating ways.
Well, I mean, I was so impressed when I was down there. There was actually two different people on two different days wearing a device that fit on their head, and it looked like there might be something in their mouth. Can you briefly tell me what that was about?
Yeah, so Justin, what you would have seen that day would have been a device called PONS. And what it stands for is portable neuromodulation stimulation. And it's one of actually many pieces of technology that we have at the clinic. And what PONS specifically does is it sends electrical impulses to our brainstem so that it can fortify signals or rewire and change signals as the body is tasking. So this is a brain body connection that is facilitated by electrical stimulation.
Wow. I mean,
Mhm.
I saw this one fella and he was walking a straight line and one foot in front of the other, and I couldn't even do that before my stroke. That's amazing stuff.
It is. And I mean, half of the tasks that we're doing here, it feels like you're getting ready for the circus, doesn't it? Right? They make you do all sorts of things. But if we're not asking our body and challenging our body, that's not being communicated back and forth to the brain, right? So then we settle into this, we can't. I don't think I can. But really, it's because we haven't tried and we haven't asked our body to try. And so much of what happens at Synaptic is asking your body and putting your body through that try phase.
You know, you phrased it very nicely. I remember when I had my stroke, and my therapist would say, "Well, let's do this." And I said, "I can't." And then, you know what? No comment. I think I said I can't a total of three times. Then something dawned in here, and hey, wait a minute. She's not responding to I can't. So maybe I'd better change my thinking. And then I changed that to I will do my best.
Mhm.
And that changed eventually. Um, I must admit I cheated. I looked on your website. What is neuro recovery?
I think, and that term, right, and how it's being used in rehab. When we look at compensatory tactics and strategies versus actually recovering. So gaining back some of what has been lost, right? Versus just compensating for what has been lost. So when we look at neuro recovery, we are looking for that path forward and regaining function in one way or another. And I will be the first to admit that we're not telling you that it's going to look the same, right? So many times after a neurological injury or diagnosis, that things look different, but that doesn't mean you can't do something. It just means that the strategies are different, the input is different, and sometimes the output is different, but functionally, we're looking to find a way.
That there is a way in of doing something. And I think I understand what you're saying, because 2 years ago, I knew my granddaughter was going to eventually get married. But this year I told her, "Kaylee, I'm going to dance at your wedding." Like, I never would have dreamed that was possible. And here's the good part about that. I never was a fantastic dancer. I mean, I could look like it, but so if I don't do a great job now, I can say, Or other people will say, oh, she's had a stroke. That's why. Anyway,
You got to use that card when you can. Hey, Jocelyn?
absolutely. Anyway, now a 12,000 square feet, you have tons of staff. I mean, a lot of different things are going to go along with running the place. Where do you get your funding?
So that's a really good question, Jocelyn, because Synaptic is a unicorn in the middle of public healthcare and private healthcare. So we do not belong to public healthcare. We're not a part of HS, and we're not publicly funded in the conventional way. And we're not a private clinic in that we're not profit driven. So Synaptic exists as a charity. And in this model, we're looking for cost recovery. So our hope, our vision, our goal is to have access to and create access to rehab. And that also means financial access. So our goal is to bring down the cost of care while providing the highest standard of care. So when clients come here, they pay for a portion of that cost, and then the other half almost is subsidized by donations. Most of our donations are actually from private funders who are a part of this neuro world or who are compelled to do something to help and facilitate the work that's being done here.
So you don't have the government of Alberta saying, oh, you guys are doing a great job. Here's X amount of dollars to keep you going.
No, that is not happening. And we are very aware that our public health care system already is, heavily tasked on so many different things. And so the understanding is that public health and inpatient healthcare focuses on what it does and kind of stays within its lane. And we're wanting to do the same. We're community based. So when somebody is then discharged in the community or returns to their community, where's the support? How do we continue to support, right? And this is where Synaptic comes in. So it's although we are integrated, we're interdependent, we're not codependent.
Well, and what really impresses me were the therapists I talked to. You have incredible people. Um, an example, about 2 years ago, my physical therapist here was asking my goals. And I said, well, I want to walk. I mean, to me, it was who wouldn't. He gave me the strangest answer. He said, why? I mean, I can really say that in 100% honesty, I did not get that kind of a response in Calgary. It was, you want to do this? Let's go. Let's see what we can do. No, I appreciate that. Now, what I'm going to do, because I'm sure you accept, if someone is watching this and feels compelled to donate, you would gladly accept it. Am I right?
Yeah, Jocelyn, I think, like I said, the Calgary has been, and Alberta has been the very core heart and soul of this organization. And I think that I don't know if it would have happened in another province, to be honest with you, to start, where Calgarians and Albertans really just rolled up their sleeves and pitched in when and where they can. So when we first started, it truly takes a village and villages upon villages to do something like this. So nothing in me says that like I did this on my own, not even close. I maybe facilitated a fraction of this, let me tell you. It really took so many hands and so many hearts. So when we look at Donations, absolutely. This is what drives and funds and allows us to continue what we're doing. And there's the financial part, but there's also donations in kinds, people who are giving skills and time and mentorship. So there's a wide variety of way people can get involved.
Well, well, perhaps when this video gets uploaded, which may take me a half an hour, one of your staff can, in the comments, put a link to your website where people can go and check it out. And if they so feel inclined, they can contact you or donate whatever their fancy is.
Yeah. And I think an important part of our conversation today, Jocelyn, like you said, is awareness and advocacy. So it for me, it's never been just about raising funds, but certainly that enables us to do what we need to do. But most people aren't even aware that something like this doesn't exist. They're not aware that our public healthcare system doesn't continue for all of time and meet all our needs in all the different ways, right? So I think that what you're doing is amazing and incredible and sharing your story and raising this awareness. And hopefully, in this time and this conversation with you, it just allows our community and our greater community to ponder, right? What happens? What happens to like people with neurological conditions when they need us the most? Who's answering that call?
That's a good note to end on. Thank you, Wen, because when I did talk to a friend and told her what I was doing and said, you know what? Yes, it's not paid for. She says, what do you mean? We've got the best health care in the world. I said, well, it's not. So, Wen, thank you for your time. And all I can say, keep up the good work.
That's what I want to say to you, Jocelyn, right? Like we provide the space, we provide the facility and the therapist, and let me tell you, this is the most incredible team that you'll come across. They put their heart and soul into every session every single day, but I do want to acknowledge that the hard work comes from everyone who comes through our doors, right? It's not easy for you to make the decision to come. There's so many obstacles and so many barriers for people just to get to our front door, let alone walk through it and then decide that I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something about the situation that I'm in, and I'm going to work to make this better. So that is my, greatest and deepest respect is for people like you who just will not give up. And if you're not giving up, then neither will we.
Awesome. Wen, thank you so very much.
Thank you, Justin. Have a good day.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.